Nick Majerison here. Welcome along to Top Med Talk. And it's time for a brand new series here on Top Med Talk. It's TRIPOM, trainees with an interest in perioperative medicine. They're reporting from the EBPOM USA Dallas Masters course, Perioperative Care Practicum, which happened, of course, in March of this year, March the 22nd to the 24th. Make sure you check out ebpom.org/meetings to find out more details of meetings that are being arranged around the world as part of evidence-based perioperative medicine. ebpom.org/meetings. In the meantime, let's have a listen to TRIPOM.
Top Med Talk.
We're back. TRIPOM, trainees interested in perioperative medicine, EBPOM 19, Dallas. We're here. We're back. We're with Xiaosheng Jin, talking to him, telling us about some interesting research he's doing. My colleague Bridger's here.
Yeah, so you did a poster on understanding of delirium amongst the surgical team, a multidisciplinary survey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So the inspiration for it was a BMJ infographics from last year. I don't know if anyone's read. Essentially talking about the fact that as some of you know, the vast majority of delirium are hypoactive delirium, which can present very vaguely, and symptoms can be mistaken with dementia, symptoms can be mistaken with depression. They form the vast majority of people who have delirium, and actually those are the group that you need to target in terms of managing that delirium. So we essentially did a staff survey of doctors, nurses, and allied health professionals, which in the context of UK hospital included physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and what we call HCAs, so healthcare assistants, which is kind of like a nurse assistant.
We have some of the results that you have here. So what did you guys find?
So what we found is that a lot of people we surveyed were not able to give kind of correct definitions of what delirium actually means. Because clinically, I've been through it myself. A lot of times what happens is a nurse will come up to you or someone else will come up to you and say, oh, Mr. So-and-so is pulling out his IVs and punching everyone. I think he's got delirium. Can you give him some treatment? I mean, that's the usual conversation. Whereas I guess the correct conversation should really be, oh, Mr. So-and-so is not well. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what's going on. He has a lot of other things that's wrong with him, and can you come and assess him and give some treatments? So this is essentially to tease out things like that, where essentially the question we asked is really simple: Can you define delirium? And we compared the results to the definition of the DSM-5, which is the newest definition of delirium, which looked at a few of the parameters. So the most important, they have the definition in 5 criteria. So one is disturbance in attention awareness, and then you have the time span and the fluctuation of the presentation, and you have the kind of additional features and the kind of underpinning medical and kind of underlying medical problems, and the problem being not better explained by a neurocognitive disturbance. So then we compared the definition to what we got, and what we found is that a majority of people know delirium is meant to be an acute thing, but then actually if you look at the cognitive aspects of what delirium stands for, a lot of people did not mention anything at all about the cognitive aspects of it. Like they wouldn't mention things like orientation or levels of consciousness or any kind of other cognitive aspects, which is essentially what we wanted to tease out to people. I guess it wasn't really surprising, but it was surprising the extent of the problem that we identified from this.
So was the problem you identified a lack of education, a lack of going through the methodology and thought process of defining what delirium is versus other cognitive impairments? I mean, what did you think you teased out of this?
I think a lot of it is probably to do with kind of not so much education itself, but also just training, because a lot of times, especially in a clinical environment, I guess a lot of times, so for me, from my own point of view, as a junior getting through the training process, a lot of times you are notified by nurses that something is wrong. You come address those, and over time that becomes almost like a norm or like a thought process. So naturally, if you keep getting us to address things in a certain way, then you kind of end up thinking that's norm. And if you, in this context, if all you get called out to is for patients who are punching everyone and pulling out the IVs, then that might end up being your subconscious norm of what a certain condition presents as. But then the wider problem is you need to address that in every specialty, so not just physicians, but also nurses and healthcare professionals as well.
I'm curious, and just for fun, when you went around and asked the various healthcare providers to go through this process of identifying delirium or cognitive dysfunction, who did the best? I suspect it wasn't physicians.
The results from this question was actually very similar across the group.
Oh, well, that's actually reassuring then. That's good. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. So what's the next step for you? What are you going to do with all of this? What's the next poster, the next study going to be on your end?
So this poster here is actually a part of a larger project. So the survey itself actually consists of various other questions, which we did not include in the project. And actually, one of the other things we wanted to go through is the perception on the kind of consequences of delirium, because actually there's good evidence out there to say delirium is associated with a lot of long-term side effects, not just the fact that someone's going a bit bonkers and disrupting everyone. So it's really about also getting that awareness out there. I know earlier in the talk in this morning's talk we talked about kind of levers and emotions, and actually part of our project here is to try to elicit the emotion out of people that delirium is not something that kind of just goes away over time. It's not just inconvenience, it actually has a lot of medical implications. So by making people aware of that, then hopefully they would be more willing to learn more about delirium and be more proactive in trying to pick up delirium rather than just dealing with the behavioral problem associated with hyperactive delirium.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. What suggestions would you tell trainees that are listening to us right now having this discussion? What could they do to be proactive to help with this issue?
I think my advice would be I know it sounds like cliche, but talk to patients and actually spend time and talking to them. So a lot of times when I see patients, I'm a bit worried. I kind of just end up talking about all sorts of random things. It's like, oh, well, actually, we did it on the sound test just now, but it's like, what do you have for breakfast? Who will come visit you today? And actually, there's a lot you can tease out from what they remember, and then what they remember about kind of daily events and what they know about their kind of medical progress while in the hospital. Because in order to retain all this information and actually be able to process and come to an understanding, that's a test. That's almost like an indirect test of cognitive function, so to speak.
Yeah, I like it. Bring back the humanity to medicine. Spend some time with your patients. That's great advice. Fantastic.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
This is EPOM Dallas 2019, just interviewing some of the poster presenters. We have Jin with us here today, so...
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And come to TRIPOM.org, get involved, find us, sign up, and be here.
Top Med Talk. Nick Majerison here. Thank you for listening to Top Med Talk. Now, make sure you've subscribed to Top Med Talk on your podcatcher or however it is that you're listening to us at the moment. And you're spoiled for choice. We're on pretty much every single podcast platform you could think of. So make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you've engaged with us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and make sure you've signed up for our email updates on topmedtalk.com. If you get yourself there, you'll find a website that contains all of the podcasts that we've ever done, and it gives you the chance to sign up for our email updates. That way we can always get in touch with you and tell you what we're up to. Oh, and while you're online, check out ebpom.org/meetings. While you're there, get excited about EBPOM London 2019, the London Perioperative Medicine Congress. It's on July the 2nd, and it's one of many meetings that EBPOM organises around the world in order to communicate the perioperative medicine message. Have a look, ebpom.org/meetings.